So, welcome to part two. This is effectively where I began the removal of the back box wiring and everything that was associated inside of it. I had originally recorded basically dialogue as I was doing this process, but I quickly realized that while I was recording that this process was taking a lot longer than I ever envisaged it would. This has been time-lapsed and sped up basically by multitude of factors here. So even though it actually doesn't really look like I'm moving very quickly, it's sped up, I think, at like, I would say 10 times, maybe 20 times normal speed now, which probably means I'm just a very slow worker. But anyway, basically while I was doing this, it may look like I'm just removing the wiring and taking everything out without any planning or foresight, but prior to basically removal of this backbox wiring, I'd, with my wife, documented all of the connectors. So we'd actually gone through quite painstakingly, connector by connector, recording down all of the headers basically and where they connected to. So every time we saw like a wire going into a circuit board, and it, say for instance, was J130, we would mark that on the side of the connector, and we'd also document the color of the wiring that was going inside that connector, mainly because of fears that, you know, the marker we would use maybe would fade or smudge, and we would lose what connector it would go to. For the most part, a lot of the connectors inside a Williams machine are varying different sizes. There are some, however, that are similar. So it was definitely worth documenting this. I think if I hadn't, I probably would have left myself into a position where I would probably be guessing what goes where. And that's, even with, like, we took lots of photos, I don't think I would have been that confident just blindly plugging in and hoping for the best. Even with photos, it's like if you don't capture the right angle, or there's another wire beneath that wire and it's hard to see what's behind it, it just makes things difficult and unnecessarily so. So I'm pretty glad we went through that process of documenting everything. It will come in handy as well later down the project when we do the playfield swap. That in itself is an upcoming project for me. Currently waiting for the playfield to arrive, but as it stands right now, this is me basically documenting up to the cabinet restore. So this project is going through and effectively just removing all the equipment out of it in preparation for the work we were doing the following weekend. It's definitely been a great insight into how the machines are put together, and it's helped me better understand how everything is like wired up, how it's basically earthed through the earth braid that you get within the cabinet, and it's helped me appreciate just how complicated these machines were really, and why I think there's so much time for them to assemble these machines. I mean, credit to the people that are still doing it day in, day out, you know, and everyone's complaining about why machines are taking so long to assemble. I mean, okay, everybody's doing a specific part just like they would do on a car lot, car manufacturing plant, I should say, but nonetheless, it doesn't undervalue, I think, what they do. I think it's still a very labor-intensive piece of work to carry out. So at this point, I've removed the bulk of all the wiring, and I'm just taking out the circuit boards one by one, and then we're placing them down on effectively work mats, or what you might want to call like yoga mats, on the floor. Thankfully, we've got a lot of space to do so, and we were doing it at the time to place it in a position we would remember where we're at. In all honesty, it didn't really matter in the end, because, you know, obviously we had all the photos. It's quite easy to figure out what went where, mainly down again to the mounting points that are available on the back box as well.